Solly, how are you today?
Pretty good, man. How's your summer going?
We're still looking for a job, but other than that, things are going well.
I know you're a little miffed about the early wake-up call. Sorry about that.
Yeah, this may be the earliest I've been up all summer, so bear with me, but we'll be okay.
Yeah, I wanted to get your expertise on specifically the American and National divisions. Those are teams that you spent a lot of years covering. Obviously, Timber Creek is pretty much the story of the National, but you have some pretty good other teams in that division. Clearview, Delsey, Eastern, and even Paul VI. You know, maybe they can make a little bit of run in that division. I don't think anybody can really even come close to Timber Creek, do you?
No, Timber Creek has obviously been the team to beat in this division and for a little bit, and obviously been one of the South Jersey's best teams for a number of years now. And this year, I don't see it changing. I think Timber Creek is clearly the team to beat in their division, and clearly the team to beat in South Jersey Group 3 this season, because they'll drop down one group this year after the classifications came out. But Timber Creek is obviously a team that is loaded, and you look right at the number one player on that team, and that's Devin Leary, and he's had a sensational career so far. He's got 1 year left. Established a couple state records last year, heading to NC State, and he's a national caliber quarterback. He spent the summer at some very prestigious high level Nike camps, and is clearly probably the player of the year candidate once again in the state. So, I think realistically, when you really look at it, I mean, we're even, how many weeks are we till game time? But clearly Timber Creek's the team to beat in that division, and then you have Cherry Hill East, Clearview, Delsey, Eastern, and among that group you probably look at Delsey, a team that's had a tremendous run as far as sectional championships are concerned. They lost last year, but prior to that they had won 4 straight, and Sal Marquez is another coach in South Jersey that's highly respected, and only the second coach in Delsey history. So I think you look at that division and you clearly look at Timber Creek number 1, Delsey number 2, and then from there you kind of see where things fall in line.
What does that do for Devin Leary to get a guy like Kyle Dobbins from St. Augustine Prep transferring over there? I mean, it's it's not as if he needed more weapons, but now you're talking about one of the best running backs in South Jersey.
Yeah, I think obviously now, Timber Creek has not that they didn't run the ball in the past, because they did run the ball quite a bit. Even with Devin's extraordinary numbers, they still ran the football, and this year, it's going to take a little bit of off the pressure off of Devin a little bit, because you can hand the ball off to Kyle Dobbins a handful of times a game and get some serious yardage. So he'll help. He gives him another option coming out of the backfield to throw the football to as well. So I think I don't think Devin really has anything to prove at this point. I think a lot of people are going to look at him and expect big things game in and game out. But having an option like Kyle Dobbins, I think will allow him to maybe take a deep breath and realize that he's got somebody else he can give the ball to who has some serious potential. And, that's just going to make Timber Creek that much better of a team.
Yeah, Kevin, as if you didn't have enough to worry about as a defensive coordinator going up against Timber Creek, now 2 or 3 runs by Dobbins, and you're looking at a 40-yard field for Devin Leary to work with. I mean, that can be pretty demoralizing for a defense.
Yeah, Devin can throw the ball. He can throw the ball a mile if he has to, but like you said, he's not going to have to. He's not going to have a whole lot of yards, I think, to work with if Kyle is on his game. And Kyle's coming off of a pretty decent season at St. Augustine. He's had a really nice career there, but for whatever reason, decided he was going to leave and has now landed at Timber Creek, and he's heading to Temple for a reason. And then he had a couple other major college offers, and he's a quality running back. So, a defensive coordinator looking at Timber Creek was already looking at a serious game plan, but now I think it's a little bit more dangerous.
We're talking with Kevin Minnick here on the South Jersey Sports Report. Kevin, the West Jersey Football League American Conference pretty interesting conference. I mean, I think you could see 3, maybe 4 teams out of this conference heading to the state playoffs. Obviously, Shawnee won the division last year, and they got some quality players back. But Cherokee had a nice little run there last year, and I think Hamilton might be one of those sleeper teams. They went 5-5 last year, but have some pretty good players back, especially on the offensive side. And even Kingsway is a team that generally has a lot of good athletes at that school. So I could see them improving on that 4-6 record from last year.
Yeah, you mentioned 4 to 6 teams. You throw in Washington Township and Williamstown, and you have a very competitive division. I don't think, I think if you look today, you look at that division, those 6 teams, you probably look at Shawnee as the team to beat again. But I think there's going to be a lot of parity in this division this year. I think, Kingsway is going to be in its second year with Mark Hendricks as the coach, and I think they're going to. They're going to be a little bit better. You look at a Williamstown team that went 2-8 last year, and that's just not the norm down there in Brave Country. So I think they're looking to turn it around. And you throw in a Washington Township team now that is obviously rejuvenated and very excited to play with Lamont Robinson taking over as the head coach. There's a lot of excitement in Washington Township for this football team this year, and it may take him a year or two to get things going, but I think. Expectations are pretty high already this year for there to be some quality play and some increased success. So you're looking at a division that it's going to be very competitive. And like you mentioned with Hamilton's a team that traditionally runs the football, and I'm sure that'll happen again. And they're always going to be competitive, and Cherokee as well. So a lot of balance there, but off the bat, if you have to look at it today, you'd say Shawnee is probably the team to beat.
Yeah, Kevin, that division seems to me like one of those ones where all these teams are going to spend a good portion of the season kind of beating up on each other, knocking heads with each other, and it may seem like a bad thing at first, but if you're able to get enough wins to qualify for states, I mean, you're pretty prepared to go into state playoffs when you're facing teams like, say you're a Kingsway, you're facing Hamilton, Cherokee, Shawnee. I mean, these are some quality teams that, they're going to get you ready for states if you're able to make that cutoff date.
Yeah, that's the thing, if you can make it. And these teams, they're teams that play these schedules year in and year out, and there's teams that will usually mark down as that's a playoff team, mark them in. You look at a team like Williamstown, a team who in the past few years has had some very good success. I played in a sectional final and was looking pretty good. And last year they go 2-8. So you beat each other up a little bit. Somebody's going to have to rise to the occasion and take that division. Or do we look at it as there's so much parity that maybe 2 or 3 teams end up sharing it? Obviously we got a long way to go, but playing quality teams and playing competitive teams week in and week out, only helps your situation. And if you are fortunate enough to qualify for the tournament, playing these kind of teams on a weekly basis can be nothing but a positive when it comes time to be in a one and done situation against other teams that are going to be in similar situations.
You mentioned earlier about Timber Creek dropping down to South Jersey Group 3, and I think that makes it for a pretty interesting playoff bracket. Assuming they are what we think they are and make the playoffs. Teams like Shawnee and Delsea, those are some proud programs that it almost seems to me like they would kind of relish the opportunity to maybe take down the vaunted Timber Creek, number 1 in South Jersey type of squad. I don't think they would shy away from that kind of challenge.
Well, those 2 teams in particular, no. And there are many more teams along the line that would love the opportunity to play the best. And Timber Creek obviously has set itself up to be considered, among the best in South Jersey. They've played in 6 straight sectional finals. They're a 2-time defending Group 4 champion. They dropped down to 3 this year, and Delsea is probably the team you look at in that group that on paper you would say, okay, well, that's probably the best in this group that could challenge Timber Creek. And I don't even know if Delsea's going to be good enough to do that this year. I think Timber Creek's going to be very, very good again, and going to be obviously the team to beat. But you look at you looked at before these classifications came out, and you're thinking, okay, well, maybe we can see a Timber Creek Shawnee game again, and Shawnee can get that opportunity again to see what they can do. But Shawnee's going to stay in 4, and and it's going to be a team you're going to throw in the mix in 4 as well. So when the classifications came out, with Timber Creek dropping into 3, it kind of put a damper, so to speak, I guess, on 3 at least, because obviously I think a lot of people respect Timber Creek and think they're the team to beat, but it may have opened up a couple of things for some other teams in 4, realizing now, well, we're not going to have to face them. So we'll see what happens. Obviously it's a long, long time before we get to the chill of December, the first weekend of December.
Right. Kevin, before we let you go, I wanted to get your thoughts on the West Jersey Football League in general. This is the second year of this kind of everybody coming together in South Jersey. What's your perspective now after 1 year in the West Jersey League? And I think it makes for some great football in terms of, you go through down the line, a team like Pleasantville is able to rebuild itself a little bit by not having to play some really strong Group 4 teams. And so some of the Group 2s and Group 1s, I think it really benefits them in terms of, not having to go through long losing streaks where you're playing 3 or 4 Group 4s in your out of divisions, conference schedule.
Yeah, I spoke to Bud Cole. He's the president of the West Jersey League, and this will be the 8th year for the league itself. So we're going through the final year of its 4th 2-year cycle, and this will be the second year, like you said, of having all the teams of South Jersey together in this league, with the addition of the Cape Atlantic and the Colonial Conference last year. And what it's done is it has really solidified its mission. From day one, the goal of this league was to create a competitive balance and give those teams, like you said, like a Pleasantville, an opportunity to compete against teams more like Pleasantville. And this league has absolutely been able to do that. Prior to this league, you had games where the running clock came at halftime, and teams were not simply able to compete. And when you can't compete, and you kind of know that on a week-in basis, week-out basis, it kind of can become demoralizing to a kid. He works extremely hard during the course of the week, and in reality knows that they pretty much don't have a chance to compete. So what this league has done is given these teams opportunities to compete. It's given opportunities to play against teams of similar strength and similar size. And while these teams may not be high caliber playoff teams, it makes for that 9-week football season. And ultimately, that 10th game, for whatever it turns out to be, it makes for a more enjoyable and a more competitive season. And these kids are getting a lot more out of it. So, Pleasantville has like you mentioned, benefited from this. A program like Gloucester Catholic has benefited from this. A team that hadn't won a game in 2 years, finally, kind of saw the light of day and won some games and almost qualified for the playoffs. So, the league itself, I think, it's 95 teams except for this season. Pittman's not going to field a team, and I believe West Windsor North won't field a team from up in the northern part of the southern area. And but it makes for competitive football, and that's all they really wanted. And I think for the most part, it's been nothing but a positive thing for these teams.
Yeah, because you look at in years past, a team like Lower Cape May fielding maybe 28 guys, and all of a sudden coming into town as Egg Harbor Township with an 85-man roster. It's like, geez, we can't, all our guys are playing both ways, and they got, specific offensive and defensive teams. You just get worn down by the third quarter.
Yeah, and I think that what the league has also maybe done too for a handful of programs has helped them increase their numbers. Kids maybe, kids are saying, well, we can't compete. We're getting our butts kicked week in and week out. I'm not going to take a chance of getting hurt. I can go play another sport. Well, now, they're seeing that they're being competitive. There's the games are decent games. They're not, 54-0 at halftime anymore. And so now these kids are kind of, looking at it, well, you know what, maybe it is okay. Maybe we can compete. So, programs are, numbers are elevating in a lot of places where they were low before. And like I said, it was all about competition. It was all about, being competitive on a week in and week out basis against schools of similar size. And it took away those awful matchups where, like you said, one team's got 20 kids, the other team's got 80 kids, and, you can't compete in a situation like that. So it's been a positive experience. I think they're pleased with the direction of it. And, we'll get through this year. And then I guess, when this next year comes around, they'll reevaluate again. And as we begin another cycle and maybe try to take it to another level. So it's been a very good experience. And I think South Jersey football is extremely has really benefited from this opportunity.
Great stuff as always, Kevin. We're up against a break. Got to let you go, but we'll catch up to you soon. Talk some more football. Thanks, bud.
Anytime, Sully. Thanks again.
You got it, man. Have a great weekend.
You too.
That was Kevin Minnick, South Jersey high school sports expert. So we love getting him on the show and enjoy hearing his opinions on things.